Trust. Hard to earn, easy to lose. And the same goes for money. But what happens when you give both to the wrong person? In this Nigerian folktale, a hunter finds himself in debt and turns his creditors into prey. This is a tale of clever tricks, broken trust, and a lesson as old as time itself. Join me for the first episode of Folktale Vault, The Hunter Who Tricked Everyone. So our story begins with a famed hunter named Effiong. Now Effiong isn't just famous for his hunting skills. He also has a reputation of being a bit of a big spender. Okay, a lot of a big spender. You know the type. The one who is always ordering more drinks to the table, who loves all the finer things in life. Of course, as tends to happen, eventually Effiong's money runs out. No big deal, right? He is a hunter after all. So, he heads back to the forest to do what he does best. But something is different. It seems the gods are no longer on his side. No matter what he tries, he can't catch a single animal. Just frustration and an empty belly. Now they say hunger is the greatest motivator, and it certainly was for Effiong. Starving and desperate, he comes up with a plan. He goes to one of his best friends, another hunter named Okun, and asks to borrow 200 rods, promising to pay him back in a month. Now rods were a form of currency used in West African trade until at least 1930. And 200 rods wasn't exactly pocket change. But Okun agrees to give him the money. And just before he leaves, Effiong mysteriously tells Okun, "When you're coming to collect the money, bring your gun." Here's where things get shady. You see, despite being a hunter, Effiong had befriended quite a few animals over the years. A leopard and a bush cat from the forest, and a goat and a chicken from the farm. He goes to each of these animal friends and asks them for the exact same thing he asked Okun, 200 rods to be paid back in a month. But he gives each animal a different time to come collect the money. And lastly, he says if he isn't home, to feel free to eat whatever they see in his compound. Collection day arrives. Effiong wakes up, scatters corn all over his compound, and quickly leaves his house. He climbs a tree nearby to hide and wait. The first animal to arrive is the chicken. Happy and go lucky, the chicken looks around and realizes Effiong isn't at home. And then he notices the corn strewn all around the house. Clucking to himself in delight, he digs in. He is enjoying himself so much that he fails to hear the next animal to arrive, the bush cat. The bush cat, on the other hand, immediately notices the chicken, and it's looking just right. Juicy, plump, and meaty in all the right places. I mean, who doesn't love chicken? And Effiong had said to eat whatever he saw. So the bush cat creeps up slowly to the chicken and then pounces. The next animal to arrive is the goat. Now goats are notoriously bad-tempered, and this one was no exception. Upon realizing that Effiong wasn't home, he becomes infuriated. He spots the bush cat enjoying his meal, puts his head down, and charges. Pow! He knocks the bush cat on his back. Now the bush cat just came for his money. He wasn't here for this smoke. He picks up the remains of the chicken and runs away into the bush, leaving the goat bleating in anger. This bleating attracts the attention of the leopard, who was just on his way to collect his money. As he approaches the house to investigate the noise, the irresistible smell of goat fills his nostrils. As the goat continues bleating angrily, the leopard crouches and silently approaches. Now the smell of goat is overwhelming. The leopard leaps. The bleating stops. Finally, the last creditor, Okun, arrives at Effiong's house. He is immediately put on alert by the crunching noise of the leopard feasting on some goats. He thinks to himself, "It's a good thing that Effiong asked me to bring my gun." He readies himself, raises his gun, takes aim, and fires. He doesn't miss. Now this is the moment Effiong has been waiting for. He swiftly zooms down the tree and runs into the compound. "What have you done?" he cries. "You've killed my dear friend." He continues to scream and cry, accusing Okun of being a murderer. "I must report this to the king." Okun pleads with his friend not to report his deed, but Effiong refuses to be swayed. This goes on for a while until Okun finally says, "If you let this go, I'll forgive your debts." Effiong pretends to grumble a bit more, but he eventually accepts. He tells Okun to leave so he can bury his friend. Okun thanks him and leaves. As soon as he leaves, Effiong takes the leopard's body and skins it. He eats the meat and sells the hide at a distant market for a lot of money. And so, Effiong ends up debt-free with his belly full and his pockets fat. And now, whenever a bushcat sees a chicken, he always kills it, as payment for the debt it never collected. So what's the moral of this story? Yes, it is a cautionary tale about lending to the wrong person, but it's also a masterclass in manipulation. Effiong didn't just dodge his debts. He used each of his creditors against the other like Ayo pieces, and somehow walked away richer than ever. Folktales like this one remind us that intelligence can be used for good or mischief, and that trust can be a dangerous currency. So be wise and use discernment to judge the character of those you deal with. Because sometimes the most dangerous predator is not the one with the claws. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I do hope you enjoyed this tale, and I'll do my very best to bring out these videos regularly. So hit that like, drop a comment if there's a story you want me to tell, and please don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, dear listeners.